Hi there, welcome. I'm Stephen Colligan. I'm a registered psychotherapist and an associate with the College of Law, and it's great to have you here. And this is part of our wellbeing initiative that the College of Law is running. And I'm here today with Marcus Martin. Marcus, the CEO of the College of Law. Hi, Marcus. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Stephen.
Great. Hey, thanks for your time. Really do appreciate it. So, just going to have a really pretty informal chat just around kind of what we're noticing at the moment, and just to tie in more, as we mentioned, around kind of the resilience and well-being, particularly what we're observing at the moment, and that we can help with some of our colleagues to the future. So first question I have for you, Marcus, is tell me about the resilience and well-being initiatives and how that came about, and what is your hope for them?
Sure, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, personally myself, I have a background in stress and EAPs. When I was working in the UK for a healthcare provider, then I came across to New Zealand, and when I began to work for the college, part of the college in it, with its charitable status, acknowledges the giving back to the legal profession.
Yeah.
So I was really keen to begin to bring the concepts that I've used in the UK within the UK legal profession and begin to launch those into the New Zealand legal profession. So in 2015, we initially launched Understanding Resilience. And we've just seen constant growth year on year, and that's from the take-up of law firms, but also wider. So we now deliver those wellness sessions into the wider professional services sector as well as education. Further to that, we've also begun to build data around wellness by doing the annual legal profession wellness research exercise. And we really believe it's a significant area of growth from 2020 onwards. In particular, with the current environment we're working in, we're seeing the demand for wellness increasing significantly. So the college is very committed to ensuring that we can deliver some quality products and some quality support.
Great, a great initiative. So obviously what we're seeing at the moment, the COVID-19 has sent the world and of course lawyers into quite a different way of working than we've ever had before. So for you personally, how have you navigated that?
Yeah, I mean, well, the college is traditionally a blended learning provider. So Profs has always been a mix of online and on-site. So for us, it wasn't too challenging to convert the online component to on-site. I think part of the issue we had was some of the on-site subjects that we taught, for example, negotiation, advocacy, interviewing, are very much a face-to-face environment that works best. So we needed to come up with a couple of solutions that allowed the same experience, but in that online environment. So that's where the likes of Zoom and WebEx come in to really still have that lecturer-student experience that appears there. From a college perspective, we have very, very clear leadership. So we were slightly ahead of the game with regards to our transfer. So we were maybe a week or two ahead of the level 3, level 4 announcement. So we were prepared for this online environment. So for us, whilst we acknowledge the online solutions aren't necessarily ideal, we're very much committed to make sure that we can work moving forward to see gradual improvements in the portfolios that we're delivering.
So was that something that you were finding you were moving towards, but perhaps this has accelerated it?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a regulatory framework that we need to work to, which encompasses blended online and on-site learning. Sure. But this is very much an exercise that has proven that the online environment does work for the students. They really enjoy the experience, right. And eventually it is a future.
Great. Yeah, no, absolutely. So with that though, and I know as we move through the phases and there may perhaps be a more return to work and more freedom, my suspicion is that the way that we work will change and the home office, the home life experience is blurring. How are you navigating that, with perhaps what you need to take care of home, but also a busy job?
Yeah, it is very difficult. I mean, when the office is now your house and you don't have a commute, it's so easy just to have a quick look at emails. And that in itself makes the day longer. But on the other side, it also makes you far more accessible. I think the biggest challenge that we all have is just the removal of that face-to-face component really increases the constant volume of emails. So it's really making sure that you're on top of everything that's required to be done to run an organization without overpowering everyone with the responsive emails as well. So what we do as a group is we share our routines. So everyone is respectful and acknowledges how each individual within the team works and their other commitments outside of work, because it's just as important to understand how people need to achieve their commitments outside of work as well as their day-to-day working responsibilities as well.
Right. And any personal tips from you? What do you do personally to help yourself switch off?
Exercise is the key for me. So we got the bike set up in the garage and we go out there, stick some headphones on and pretend we're in a different world.
Great. So look, we have certainly seen some changes over the past kind of 5 years around how law is operating and how it's working. And, you know, given what we've been through, but equally what you've seen, well, what are your thoughts about how law will change over the next, say, 5 years?
I think even in the last 2 or 3 months, it's changed significantly, but I think we're going to see a continued contraction over the next 6 to 12 months. But we as a group believe there will be a longer term correction over, for example, a 3-year period. So we believe this time in 3 years, we will pretty much be back to where we are a couple of weeks ago. But part of this is just ensuring that firms constantly review their business models to see not only how they currently perform, but also how they're going to perform when we return to level 2 and level 1 and that new business as usual starts to appear. And this is where the working from home conundrum begins to play within the firm environment, because what we're going to return to is going to be different to what we left. And firms need to have that flexibility to accommodate those new requirements that are coming through from the staff and the organisation, as well as the stakeholders too.
Which I guess leads me into then, what do you see some of the challenges that are going to come from that?
I think the single biggest challenge is adapting to the remote working environment whilst ensuring that the customer is still getting the same experience. Law is very much a face-to-face process where the client expects that accessibility with regards to the specialist area that the practitioner is discussing and working with the client on. So it's easy to work from home 1 day a week, for example, but the challenges associated to working from home 5 days a week and full time can have a real impact on that ability to ensure that the customer still gets that same level of attention and support that they require. So I think that still needs to shake out a little bit, and it will over the coming weeks and months, but I think it's an area that firms really need to focus on.
Yeah. So what advice would you give anybody who's in law at the moment, be that from, you know, a new grad starting out to a practitioner who's been in for some time?
I think the key at the moment is to accept that this is the new way of conducting and transacting business. We need to ensure that the technology is in place to allow that to continue, and that everything we move forward on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis is about improvement and making sure that those experiences are what are expected. Obviously, it impacts on work-life balance. So there's going to be a number of significant changes that we will see that will begin to adapt to that new environment. But I think the key is about flexibility and ensuring that that environment is exactly what the organisation requires and needs for staff retention, as well as the retention of the customers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So during the time, is there anything that you have thought you would miss and you haven't missed?
Oh, I miss the office. I miss the face-to-face contact. I miss the meetings. I miss the chats. I miss the coffee. Yeah. The social aspect is something that is obviously lacking significantly. And even though as a college we've retained regular meetings, so we still have our team meetings now, one-on-ones, just that ability to walk around the city and to bump into people and talk to them about the profession and what they're up to, I think is a key aspect that's missing at the moment, and hopefully will return as we move towards level 2 and level 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final question, I guess, just, you know, what are some guilty pleasures that you're enjoying? You know, what are you reading? What are you viewing at the moment?
Well, outside of exercise, as I said, Netflix is very popular. We don't watch the news. We don't watch terrestrial TV. We just immerse ourselves in a limited series drama or Schitt's Creek and pretend that the world doesn't exist outside.
Yes, it's quite funny, old Schitt's Creek, isn't it? It's a nice, light-hearted lift, given what we're going through.
Oh, especially with a little bit of dark humour on the outside as well.
Exactly, humour's good. Hey, Marcus, thank you. Look, I really appreciate your time. It's been great chatting to you, and look forward to hearing more of the initiatives coming from the Resilience and Wellbeing Programme.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Thanks, Marcus. That's me signing off.